The Australian Grand Prix usually provides an early indication of each team's competitiveness, but this year Aston Martin arrives in a situation that makes them difficult to judge in the usual way. Disrupted pre-season testing meant the AMR26 rarely showed its true potential, and that means what we have seen so far may not reflect the team's real level of performance. Honda's reliability problems did limit running and force the team to operate the car conservatively. But precisely because the engine has never been run at full capacity, there remains a real possibility that Aston Martin's true performance simply hasn't been revealed yet. Melbourne will be the first opportunity for the team to run a series of new technical solutions designed to reduce vibration and stabilise the battery system. If those changes work, Aston Martin could unlock a significant step forward simply by accessing performance that has so far been held back by reliability concerns. In a situation like this, the gap between a team that appears to be struggling and one that can actually compete may be smaller than it seems. So the question is, will Aston Martin continue to struggle in Melbourne, or could they reveal the potential that has been hidden until now? If you want a clear picture of how Aston Martin could become one of the surprises of the opening race, consider subscribing, because we're going to break down their Melbourne strategy in detail. Understanding Aston Martin's approach to Melbourne starts with recognising that this will not be a conventional race weekend for the team. Limited mileage during pre-season testing means Aston Martin still does not have a fully reliable baseline, either for performance or durability. Instead of arriving with a clearly validated package, the team is still trying to understand how far the AMR26 can be pushed before problems begin to appear. The central issue remains the vibration problem within the Honda power unit, which repeatedly damaged the battery system during testing. One race simulation had to be stopped after just 23 laps, and that alone illustrates how limited the team's preparation has been. Engineers could see that the battery pack was being shaken aggressively inside the car, but the root cause has still not been clearly identified. Honda's head of four-wheel racing development, Ikuo Takeshi, described the seriousness of the problem directly. He explained, "The abnormal vibrations observed during testing caused damage to the battery system, which was the primary reason for the stoppage." He also made clear that the team chose to stop running even before a major failure occurred, saying, "We stopped the car because we felt it shouldn't continue running in that state. We stopped the car because it was dangerous." Takeshi explained that the issue was not necessarily the battery itself, but the environment around it, stating, "You could think of it as the battery pack being shaken within the vehicle body." More importantly, Honda does not yet believe the problem has a simple explanation. Takeshi admitted the cause may involve several components interacting together, saying, "I suspect multiple components are interacting to generate the vibration. It's unclear whether fixing one part alone will resolve it." That uncertainty explains why Aston Martin and Honda are arriving in Melbourne, with a range of countermeasures rather than a single definitive solution. Both the power unit and the chassis will be adjusted in an attempt to reduce vibration levels, and the practice sessions will effectively be used as controlled experiments to understand what works best. This makes practice running especially important. Aston Martin needs to determine how long the car can run safely and how vibration levels change over time. One of the most concerning aspects of the problem is that the damage tends to accumulate during longer runs, meaning a car that looks stable early in a stint may begin to suffer problems later. That is why the team is expected to build up running gradually, starting with shorter stints before attempting longer runs if the data looks promising. Only then will Aston Martin be able to judge whether completing a full race distance is realistic. Despite these concerns, there are reasons to believe Aston Martin's true performance may be better than testing suggested. The Honda power unit has not yet been run at full intended capacity because reliability concerns forced the team to operate conservatively. After testing, there were claims that the MGU-K system could not charge the battery at full power, but Honda indicated that interpretation was misleading. The system itself is capable of operating normally, but it was deliberately restricted because of reliability concerns and shortages of spare parts. If the vibration countermeasures prove effective, Aston Martin could therefore gain performance simply by running the engine closer to its intended operating limits. That possibility alone means the gaps seen in testing may not accurately represent the team's real potential. Honda Racing Corporation President Koji Watanabe openly acknowledged how difficult the start of the project has been. He said, "The recent pre-season tests in Barcelona and Bahrain were, frankly speaking, extremely challenging for us." Watanabe admitted that the team had not reached its expected level, explaining, "We were unable to achieve the performance levels we had anticipated, and a complex set of issues became apparent." But he also emphasized that the problems identified during testing were part of the development process, saying, "These tests were also a crucial process in that they allowed us to visualize these challenges." Watanabe stressed that Aston Martin and Honda are working closely together to resolve the situation, explaining, "There may be various issues on both sides, but we are aiming for a long-term partnership. And at this stage, I believe we are united in our desire to resolve matters as one team." He also made clear that the immediate priority is simply being ready to race in Melbourne, stating, "With the season opener approaching, it goes without saying that we will do our utmost to ensure we are ready to race in Australia." This cooperation reflects the nature of Aston Martin's works partnership with Honda. Engineers in Silverstone and at Honda's Sakura facility have been working together to develop solutions, effectively forming a joint effort to stabilise the package as quickly as possible. Even with that level of cooperation, there is an understanding that the opening races will involve compromises. The engine specification is effectively locked following homologation, which limits the scope for major performance improvements in the short term. Reliability-related modifications remain possible, but the immediate focus is simply ensuring that the car can run consistently. That helps explain why Aston Martin's approach to Melbourne may appear conservative. Protecting components is an important factor at the start of a long season, particularly with another race following soon afterwards. Running aggressively and suffering failures would risk exhausting limited parts supplies and making the situation worse. At the same time, Aston Martin cannot afford to be overly cautious. Mileage is essential if Honda is to solve the vibration problem. Every lap provides data that cannot be fully reproduced through simulation or test benches, making the race weekend a crucial opportunity for development. Honda has indicated that reducing vibration levels before the opening race is the immediate objective, but even that may not completely solve the problem. Takeshi acknowledged the scale of the challenge and the uncertainty involved, while also making clear his determination to solve it quickly. That leaves Aston Martin heading into Melbourne in a position balanced between risk and opportunity. If the countermeasures work and the engine can be operated closer to normal limits, the team may look significantly more competitive than expected. If the problems continue, the opening race may still be dominated by reliability concerns. So the question is simple. Do you think Aston Martin could actually be the surprise of the Australian Grand Prix, or will Melbourne show that they are still not ready? Let me know what you think in the comments.